Welcome to the Best Practices Show. My name's Curtis. Luckily, I get to be on here with Kirk. Welcome. We're going to have a fantastic time.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the Best Practices Show, where we take a look at the best business practices from the best dental practices all over the world. And today we're going to be talking about a crazy cool topic that I love talking about, which is how do we make good practices better through a lot of the data and actually specific metrics with my good friend Curtis Marshall from Dental Intel. Now, before we get into that, couple show notes. We are shooting this live on Facebook, and I love it because you guys are chiming in, adding some good questions. So as you're watching this today, if you have questions, add them to the feed, and I'll ask the man himself while we got him on. And throw some tough questions. I like the tough questions. Also, if you're watching this later on, which a lot of people are, continue to add questions to the feed, and we'll do our best to give you good answers because we want you to get the most out of this. And I love your shares, even from this morning's show. You guys, this is awesome when you hit the share button and sharing it with your friends. And right now we're up over 38,000 followers on Facebook and over 150,000 on YouTube, iTunes. I'm sorry. So thank you very, very much, and keep sending us suggestions for shows that you want to see, and I'll do my best to see if we can't get them lined up and put some great shows together. And today is no exception. I got my good friend Curtis Marshall. Now, today we're going to be talking about some of the details about how to track case acceptance. Now, I'll tell you my journey in tracking numbers. I've been doing it forever on different spreadsheets and things like that. And recently we just kind of threw everything away because these guys came in and schooled us on what data, what it is, what the truth of it is, and how easy it is to harvest. Now, Curtis, before we get into this, you know, some people have watched this whole series that we've been doing with you, and they know who you are and they know Dental Intel, but some people don't, because we got dental students watching. If somebody doesn't know Curtis Marshall, who you are, who is Curtis Marshall, and who is Dental Intel?
Well, thanks, Kirk. And really, I always love speaking with you. Really excited to be here with all of your community. You have a great following. Thanks, everybody, for being and listening today. We're going to talk about some good stuff on case acceptance. But my name's Curtis Marshall. I've been in the dental industry for a long time. We got family. I got dentists, hygienists, office managers, hygiene assistants, the whole bit in dental. In fact, in my family, we do have a word whenever we talk too much dental. It's a safe word. Mm-hmm. When we say Oklahoma, that means stop talking about dentistry. So that, for me, that's kind of who I am. I've got 3 little girls. I love being with them and my family, and so that's who I am. Dental Intel, what we do is we gather the data and tell you what to do today rather than what happened in the past.
Yeah. Now, that's a big thing. You and I have talked about this a lot. A lot of times we look at data that's happened in the past and we're reacting to it. But what we're talking about now is that the industry is changing. What you guys are providing is real-time actionable data. Can you explain how important that is in running a dental practice?
And really, it's any business. Kirk, you kind of made me realize that. You're like, well, I could do this with a hot dog stand, and I could do this with, a car shop, anything, right? Any business understands that they need to know what to do today, because I can't change yesterday. Yet in dentistry, we've always focused on 2, maybe 3 big numbers: production, collections, and new patients. Maybe another, but those are the top, right? Well, you produced $10,000 yesterday, doctor. What can you do today to increase that dollars? Nothing. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
So what do you do today? You do just become better. And that's what we've been doing. I want to show a formula real quick. Is that okay, Kirk, if I show that formula?
Absolutely. And I love the formula. And the simplicity of this formula has changed a lot of things for us, because we used to track over 200 lines of data, and now we're only looking at a couple as far as the basic numbers go. So take us through the formula.
All right, so this formula really works in any industry, but we've customized it just to dentistry. It is visits, the amount of people you come in, times the production per visit that you're doing times the collection percentage. Notice we haven't said production or collections yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's the production per visit and the collection percentage. Minus overhead, that's what equals profits. So you either need to decrease overhead, increase in collections, or increase visit/production per visit, and you'll get more profits.
Right.
It's really that. Wherever you're at, you're different than another dentist.
Right.
Do you need to increase production per visit? Do you need to decrease overhead? Do you need to increase collection percentage? What is it? Once you know, then you can do something today.
Right. Now, unshare that screen if you wouldn't mind, Curtis, just because we can only see a portion of it, because we're going to go into this a little bit more. And what's really cool about this is that the simplicity just makes it so easy. And as you can see, you make an improvement to, visits, and then eventually production per visit, and then overhead exponentially as you move down the chain. It ultimately provides a better end result. Now, this is not about money. Before we get into this, because sometimes people watch this and they think it's all about money, I think your mission and vision in dentistry is really good. You guys are looking to improve two things. What are they?
Patient care, team performance.
Right.
The dental intel, our whole mission is to help patients get more care and make it easier / perform better, do better, your team members. If those two things are improving, everything else is so much easier. Everything.
Yeah.
So those are our two missions, and that's hopefully that's what offices are at too: increase patient care and team performance.
Yeah. Now, I say this almost every time we talk, but it's important to constantly come back to the big principles. Data is so important because without any data, we're just having a conversation. We're just talking about how you and I feel. And the important thing about improving a dental practice is you have to have data, because now we know what to fix. It's no different than doing dentistry without x-rays or perio scores. You wouldn't dare do that. You have to have some data before we get started.
That's true. Yeah. Because you say that, I started to, I just love, in conjunction with that, the only thing worse than no data is bad data.
Absolutely.
What I think the number is. Let's discuss and make an action plan due to what I think the number is.
Right.
And that's what's happening really, Kirk, with case acceptance right now.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about that case acceptance. Now, I want to ask you about the way that you used to do it, because really we were talking about before we got started, there's never been a good way to track case acceptance. It's been very subjective within the objective realm, So have you found that to be true?
Well, I used to be a treatment coordinator myself, right?
Okay.
And I would I'd write down everything that I did, right? And I'll be honest with you, Kirk. If a patient came in and they had Invisalign on their chart and 2 crowns, right? And I tell the patient, hey, this is the cost. And they're like, Invisalign's what? I don't want Invisalign, but I do want the crowns because I know I need to get those done. Guess what? On my piece of paper, I did not treatment plan Invisalign, but I did treatment plan the 2 crowns, and I got 100%, doctor, because you can't double check me. Look what I have. Right. I did 100%. Right. And it's not because I was trying to devalue the patient or not. I was just trying to become better. And I thought, well, that person didn't really want it, so I'm not going to put it on there. Right. But now I don't know where to improve.
Right. Right. Because we can, a lot of this we can improve just if we know the numbers. And there's a couple ways we should be looking at it. We're pretty much going to go in about 4 different directions, right? As far as treatment acceptance goes. Okay. So take us down that path.
Okay. So typically what we've been doing is trying to say, hey, what's the denominator? How many dollars or people are we presenting to? And the numerator is how many patients get accepted or dollars get accepted. Right? Okay. Right. That's our percentage. Either way, we're either looking at dollars or people. But it all starts with, even before that, the diagnostic. where are we at diagnostic wise? So what would you say, like a typical clinician, if you were to see 100 patients, how many should they diagnose with any treatment whatsoever? What percentage would that be?
Well, I would say this, it would probably be pretty high, because all you want to do in dentistry, now this isn't about hard selling, but if you're just talking about the basic needs of patients, or better yet, talking about what you're seeing, you're going to have conversations with most every patient about something being diagnosed. But the reality of diagnosis is it's extremely low in dentistry. And I'm always curious about these metrics. Like, what's the average diagnosis percentage in dentistry?
Right. So that's a good question. The average, and this is including all like 4,000 offices, right? This is quite a bit of data. And we're seeing that the average is 22 to 24% of diagnostic percentage.
Okay, so that means if I saw 10 patients, or let's say 100 patients in a month, only 24 of them, something was actually logged into the computer and entered in the treatment planner, which is how you guys specifically track this metric. True?
Correct. So something goes into the treatment planner: a crown, a perio, braces, filling, implant. Anything goes to the treatment planner. I did a diagnosis. I did an exam,
right.
And what went into the? How much did I diagnose?
Yeah. So now let's talk about why those numbers are so pretty low. Because I ask people all the time as we plug this in, and you guys will have, if you're watching this, you'll have a chance to do a free diagnostic snapshot, and you'll be able to see exactly what your number is. But there are oftentimes we see great dentists, and they are in this realm. Like some of them that are trained extremely well, have been to advanced continuing education at the highest level, and I'll see that they're 23% or 22%, and they're like, no, I'm not. And I go, yes, you are. And they go, well, it was just crazy. It was too busy, because they're running from chair to chair to chair. They don't slow down. I'm of the opinion people could often be better dentists, and patients could get better care if we just slowed down a little bit, right?
My brother-in-law, I mean, he's real honest with me. He's a dentist, okay? And he's real honest with me, so I don't have to worry about, I can just say something to him and I don't have to worry, I can hear right back. And I just go, hey, Eric, why are you, because he was at like 20, low 20 percentage. Right. Why are you at 20%? He's like, to be honest, Curtis, when I got two people numb in the back and I come in and do an exam and I see that there's something that could be done, like there's might be like I could do a filling, but I know that this patient comes back every 6 months. I'm just going to tell him everything looks good. Keep brushing. Let's do a really like deeper exam next time.
Right.
And I don't know, like that to me makes sense as a human, right? Mm-hmm. As a human, we like get rushed. We just do what we feel is necessary. But for patient care, that is not acceptable.
Agreed. There's got to be a standard of care within your practice, and then systems that are able to support it, which would lend itself to a higher diagnostic percentage. But really, when you're looking at diagnostic percentage, that's the first implicator of treatment acceptance and tracking case acceptance. Is that where we're going with this?
Yes, it is. So out of the 4 steps, that's the first one that we want to do. So it's diagnostic.
Okay.
Right? We first want to look at our diagnostic. What are we diagnosing? Now, just because you might be at 10%, you might be at 50%, just know that the average is 22 to 24%. But based on the way you present dentistry, that's your decision.
Right.
No one else can actually tell you where you should be on diagnostic. But just note that the average is that amount. Where do you feel like you should be? And then improve.
Right.
Where you're at, then take it to the next step.
Right. Now, I know you guys look at top performers in dentistry. Of all those 4,000 offices, give us a ballpark of where the top 10% would be as far as diagnostic percentage, just so that if you're watching this, you might have a target.
42%.
Okay. So 42% would be the top 10% in dentistry. That's where their diagnostic numbers are. So
right. Let me just show you one. We'll just show it for 2 seconds.
Okay.
This is one office, and this is the data that, like Kirk said, we can provide you at no cost. We can just let you see what's going on here.
Okay.
This is our good friend, Dr. Spodak in Florida.
Craig. Love Craig.
Yeah. Last quarter, he diagnosed 40% of his patients that he saw.
Okay.
One dentist was at 57. Now, he only saw 7,
Okay.
right? But you can actually see each doctor on where they're at, and when Tiffany's with a hygienist, which would be probably like right here.
Okay.
She's at 52% with that hygienist. Knowing this, we can now say, well, when Tiffany is with, let's get a better example here. Here's a good one. Okay. When this doctor's with Brittany, this doctor's diagnosing 82%. With Yvette, is at 52%. Why is there a 30% difference here? Once you figure out the reason why,
right,
that's when you increase patient care. So you first need to see where you're at in order to improve.
Right.
And that number is very difficult. You can't really get it anywhere else. So we'd love to be able to show it to you, but as long as you're tracking it some way, this number, the first thing is diagnostic. Out of the patients you're seeing, how many are you diagnosing with anything, small or big?
Right.
What are you diagnosing?
Right. Now, this is very important, and I just want to point out a couple things if you're watching this, especially as a team member. Data is critically important because we're not looking for perfect. We're just looking for progress. So some of you might be freaking out going, oh my gosh, you're exposing all my numbers. Well, everybody's got numbers. I couldn't even imagine running a baseball team without numbers. You know, I help coach 4th grade baseball, and we got to put our best hitter at 4 and 3, but also too, looking at how we can improve the others. A second thing is that with these numbers, you can see trends, you can identify trends, and you can also identify best practices in your office because you're going to see some people that are really good at this. And my first question is, what are they doing that maybe the others aren't? And the third thing I would say is that every time you have a number, psychologically as human beings, we want to improve the number. So if you gave me a pretty low score on anything, Curtis, my first thought is, man, I'm probably going to be upset. But my second thought is, how do I get better? Because I want to be better at this. So don't look at this as a negative. And it's certainly not about money. It's about how do we become better as a practice. And you also have this information on our phones now, which you don't have to dive into a computer. You know, Ritter and Ramsey in Florida, I love that. Those guys do their morning huddles and all the team members have their information right on their phones.
Yeah, on a phone.
Yeah. So I would say this, and Curtis, would you agree? Just know this particular number. A lot of tracking case acceptance starts with these 4 things. Know the number first.
Yeah, and the first one, really knowing case acceptance, is diagnostic percentage.
Right.
How many are you diagnosing?
Right.
That's the first step. That's like doing a race without understanding that where their starting line is.
Right.
Well, just going to start here.
Right.
No, the starting line is diagnostic. And so make sure you understand where you're at in diagnostic. Perfect.
Right. It can't be about money. Your core values have to be this. And what we find is like, just do the right thing. Everything else takes care of itself. But when you know this number, it's a good start. What's the second number that's important that you guys have learned when it comes to data about tracking case acceptance?
Ultimately, it's out of the people you present it to. Are they accepting or are they not?
Okay.
Now, there's two things with this. There are the patients accepting.
Okay.
So patients, I presented to 10 patients. I diagnosed 5, and out of those 5, 2 accepted.
Okay. So you're looking at pure numbers of patients that said yes in the percentage, right? That's the first number.
Yeah, okay. They accepted a small little filling, or they accepted a big old case, a huge cosmetic case. First thing is, are people accepting? Yes or no?
Okay.
Second thing under acceptance would be the dollars that are being accepted.
Right.
So you present, out of those 5 people that you presented treatment to, you presented $5,000, and what got accepted from those 2 people was $500.
Right.
Okay, good. You got 2 people doing that, but you should have had at least $2,000 accept if that's the case, but you only had $500.
Right.
You want to make sure to increase not only the people accepting, but the dollars that they're accepting. And it's not about the dollars, it's about the treatment.
Right.
Right? If they are only doing it 1 filling and they have 2 other crowns that need to be done, you're not providing best patient care.
Right.
You're not educating them, and they're understanding the importance of those 2 crowns.
Yeah, but why would
more money?
Why would we track both of these? Because everybody's at 100%. You know, or that, at least that's what I hear, right?
I was. Yeah, absolutely. Right. I told the doctor I was at 90%. I was at 100% today.
Right.
That's the problem, is that we want to be at 100%. But Kirk, if I'm at 100%, where can I improve?
Nowhere. And nobody's at
I'm
100%.
already there. I can't improve. I actually want to know truly where I'm at. I'm at 30%, or I'm at 20, 10, 40. Where are you? And then you know how to improve just a little bit. Just increase. I'm going to get a couple more people to accept. I'm going to get a couple more dollars to accept when I'm getting it, by focusing on where to improve and not just do better or get 100%. Now you are actually improving patient care.
Right. And so give us a perspective on what the average is as far as number of patients that say yes to treatment that's diagnosed. And then, dollar amount might be a little bit harder, but what's the average percentage of patients that say yes to treatment acceptance for the average, and then top 10%?
Okay. Well, so first off, it's not, the data is there.
Right.
To pull reports, it's super hard to get all this stuff.
Right.
But we have algorithms now. I mean, we're in 2018. We have robots that are doing crazy things. Why can't we just have an algorithm to show us exactly where we can improve?
Right.
Well, that's what Dental Intel is doing. And so whether you use Dental Intel or not, your own piece of paper, I don't care. Just improve. Let's look at this office. Last quarter, patients accepting. So we're going to look at the people. Why is that not clicking? Mm-hmm.
There we go. I can see it.
Did it? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So maybe just with my my high quality video, it slowed down or something because it stalled on me.
Well, and I should say you guys are in a new office and you're on Wi-Fi. So next time we're going to be a little bit more hardwired. So we'll give you that grace in here.
Thank you for allowing that.
Absolutely.
All right. So, people accepting. Look at this. 85% out of the 1,400 patients that they presented treatment to last quarter, almost 1,200 people accepted something. They said yes.
Right.
Okay. Is that good? Yeah, that's pretty dang good. Now, this is top performing people are right around 80 to 90% top performing. The average, not much lower, to tell you the truth. People accepting is between 65 to 75, sorry. 65 to 75.
Interesting. We're all going to fly down to Craig Spodak's office and do a good case presentation seminar, because he's obviously got it going on and doing some great things. And on top of it, he's a great guy. So good stuff. Now, anything else we should know about the data when it comes to these two important variables?
So that's the one right there. The second one would be, this is under the dollars accepting. There's actually two factors under there. The first is same day acceptance. So if you're writing this down, community out there, if you guys are writing this down, underneath the dollars accepting, first you want to see, well, how are we doing same day?
Okay. Same
day, when I presented the treatment, $3.5 million I presented, $1.1 million got accepted. Something of those dollars either got completed or they got scheduled in the future.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So I was looking for that definition of same-day treatment acceptance. It's what was presented that day and accepted in the same appointment or within the same particular calendar day, correct?
Calendar day. On that calendar day, might have been scheduled for next week, but the appointment we can see all this, right? Without the offices even doing anything. This is all automatic. Out of the dollars you presented today, what got either completed today or got scheduled in the future, but today, right?
Right. Now, I'll just add, this is a very important metric as we look at practices too, because you already know this if you've been practicing more than 3 years in dentistry. The second the patient leaves, their chances of saying yes statistically declines. It doesn't mean they're going to say no, but the likelihood of them coming around is less and less and less. So this is an important number just to track and see how we can, again, we're not looking for perfect, just looking for a little progress.
6 months later, Kirk, you would think that this number percentage-wise would be a lot higher, meaning somebody went and talked to their husband, their spouse, they went and talked to grandma to get more money. Right? You would think that this number would be a lot higher after 6 months, correct?
Right.
We're seeing under 5% average increase after 6 months.
Really?
It is super low. Look where these guys are at.
Mm-hmm.
So as of today, remember that $3.5 million, that's the denominator. So that still is the same.
Mm-hmm.
But later, how much got accepted? And this is a lot of data. I'm pulling 3 months worth here.
Okay.
We presented the same amount, but now instead of 1.2 or whatever it was, it's now 1.4 accepted. It's really not that much increased even here.
Wow. Now, why is that? Do you guys have any hypothesis on that, or what's the important learning point we want to come away from when we take a look at this?
Us as human beings, we are all related to deadlines.
Right.
We all act to deadlines. I mean, that's when I go home and I realize that there's a cool four-wheeler I can buy instead of my tooth being fixed. Guess what? I'm going to buy the four-wheeler because it's right in front of me.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I'm not going to go and do this until it starts to hurt.
Right.
That is why.
Yeah.
It really doesn't increase.
Right.
Unless you do something, it doesn't increase at all. But like 5% is the typical.
Interesting. So now what's the fourth piece of data? I know I only get you for so long here today, but what's the fourth piece that's so critical?
Okay, the fourth piece ultimately is following up, making sure that those patients that did not accept, right? So we go back to look at these patient diagnostic percentage. Patient acceptance. Out of these patients who accepted or did not accept anything, are we following up with them?
Okay.
If we want to increase patient care and team performance, so we have roughly 300 people that did not accept, right? The difference between those two?
Okay.
Are we following up with them? Are we making sure that they don't see that four-wheeler? Are we now being in front of, or do we have a specific day, a specific time, and an agenda of what to call when we're reaching out to them?
Right.
That's the fourth thing to really be focusing on case acceptance, is making sure that we are truly following up with the patient to make sure that they come back in to increase, once again, patient care.
Yeah, and there's a secret behind this is that you can't depend on a person to do it. You have to put a system in place. There's got to be a systematic way in which patients come into your office, learn about what's possible, and if they don't say yes, we've got a system that allows us to stay in contact with them, show them that we care about them. So how does that work with you guys?
Well, here's how it typically works, right? And we were just in an office just last week working with some people, and one of the hygienists was writing down on a sticky note, right? Call this patient next week about their perio. Right? And we saw that and we go, whoa. What are you doing right there? I'm just making a reminder for myself. Okay, well, that's for that one patient. What are you doing for those other two patients that you presented perio to today? Oh, good point. Let me write that down. Whoa. What are you going to do if you lose that piece of paper? I don't know, right? So unfortunately, there's not a good way inside Dentrix, EagleSoft, Open Dental, all these softwares to follow up with patients on treatment. We do have a great system. It's called follow-ups. You're more than welcome to look at it later, but we automatically tell you who to call and assign it to a certain person for a certain day so that that person no patient left behind. That would be you could try many other ways. There's softwares out there, but that's we do have that solution for that.
Yeah, so just as a review, if you're joining us late here on live, it's really 4 things: tracking case acceptance in the future of dentistry in real-time data that helps your practice comes down to 4 things. We're going to be looking at diagnostic percentage, which is how many patients were actually, we talked about something, it was entered into a treatment plan, and you want to make sure that it's a fairly high percentage. The national average is somewhere in the low 20s. The top 10% are somewhere in the low 40s. So as you can see, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity. We're also going to be looking at the number, or actually percentage, correct me if I'm wrong, of patients that have said yes. So out of 10, how many of those 10 said yes? And obviously improving that number. Then we want to be tracking the actual dollar amount within those people that said yes, or actually total that was presented and said yes. So that would be total number that was presented and total number that was accepted. And then lastly, how
just to make sure we're clear on that, the second one is patients, number of people saying yes. The third thing is dollars getting accepted. 2 totally different things. People saying yes and dollars saying yes.
Thank you for the clarification, because that's, I wasn't able to get that out, but that's exactly. So, and then lastly, measuring the follow-up on that. And obviously want to create a system where you can see no patient left behind. And you guys have a great tool. Now, you've been gracious enough to share it with us, in which we can actually, if you're watching this, you can actually sample it. It's just an app. You plug it in, it takes 5 minutes, and it goes into almost all the major software. And can you just tell us what that is and how it works? It just takes a couple minutes and you can see everything.
Free download. Yep. And we can show you exactly how many what your diagnostic percentage is, what your patient acceptance is, and also your dollars acceptance. And then also let you know how many patients are leaving your office without getting scheduled, so that you can ultimately know, okay, in my practice, I'm going to focus on, out of those 4 things, which one is it for you? Truly. Not what you think it is, but which is it truly? And then either go do it yourself, great, or get Kirk and I to work with you, and we'd be happy to make it so that your patients are getting better care and team members are happier.
Yeah, and if you don't know this number, you can obviously do the snapshot and take a look at it yourself. But if you want some help in interpreting it and see, I love, Curtis, you always talk about opportunities. You can see where the practice is and see where the opportunities are for growth. We're happy to do that at no cost. You can actually just plug it in. So if you're listening on iTunes, it's www.actdental.com/snapshot. You can check it out there. Again, it's free. Just check it out and use it. And then how can we find you, Curtis, if we want to know more about Dental Intel? How do I find out about you and what you guys do?
Oh, that's a good question. You can go to our website, obviously, but one thing, you know what, Kirk? They can shoot me a text if they want. I'm more than happy to help out anybody. If you have a question about data, go ahead and shoot me a text. My number's simple, 801-380-7070. Shoot me a text and say, hey, I would like to know what my diagnostic percentage is, or tell me more about X, and I'd be happy to help anyone out.
Good work, buddy. Thank you so much. So cool. Well, stick around while we say goodbye to everybody else. I know you got to run, Curtis, but thank you so much for all of your wisdom and help. I love learning from you every time we talk. If you enjoyed today, please do us a favor, hit the share button, which I know you did. Share it. And if you have suggestions you want to see in programming, not only from Curtis, but from other people, we're so happy to do that. Just let us know, and you can send us a message through the platform. And until we see you next time, keep watching the Best Practices Show. You guys have a great rest of your day.